Well, good morning and happy Wednesday, midweek, hump day. Normally, you don't see us here in studio, but you're going to see us more and more. We've got some really cool things on the horizon of being in studio more, doing broadcast here, maybe even on Wednesdays and Fridays, and showcasing all that is Adventure Unknown and where our studios are. There's so much really cool things that we want to show you coming up in the future. Today on this Wellness Wednesday, we have Dr. Brooke Kalisiak with Legacy Physical Therapy, and we're going to talk with Angie Hess from Spas and More. So she'll be on at the end of our show. You've seen her at the beginning over the last few weeks. So for those of you that are maybe rushing off, take the kids to school and you come back and watch the show, you'll get a chance to meet her maybe for the first time. If you are new to the show, let me introduce myself. I'm Monica Adams, the show, The Real Monica Adams, and we're just getting started for you. So as you're waking up, we love for you to be interactive. Feel free to drop some comments in. I'll say good morning to you if you have any questions or comments about current shows or past shows, or just, hey, what's going on in the world? If there's something that we don't do in news you can use that you heard about, that you would like for us to talk about on a show, maybe even have as a guest on a future show, I will do that. I was actually going to talk about something I heard a few weeks ago today, and then I thought, nope, I'm going to table this for a future generational talk. And it has to do, and if the kids were watching right now, they would start laughing. So 6, 7, you know about it if you're a parent. Trust me. I'm going to save that for a future generational talk. 6, 7, go ahead, kids, start laughing. All right. Or maybe you need to ask your kids, what's that all about? We'll discuss that in the coming week. So we always like to inspire you, make you laugh, educate you, give you a little hope and inspiration. If there's a story in the news that I talk about that has more of a negative or a sour tone to it, it's because I need you to be aware, or it is, what can we do as a community? So that's kind of a background of how the show is. All right. Good morning to you as you are waking up. Doesn't feel as cold as it did the last couple of days. Let's look at the forecast here for you in our immediate area. If you're outside of St. Louis, taking care of our St. Louisans and those right across the river in Illinois as well, 88, we are creeping up a little higher and higher and higher. 88 for the high today, partly sunny skies. Tomorrow, 90, and then we get even warmer, 92 on Friday. When we check back in with our aspiring meteorologist, Beckett Moore, we'll see if his forecast matches that of our friends over at First Alert 4. They've got 95. What the heck on Saturday and Sunday? Lows are going to be in the 70s. And then we're staying there. 93 on Monday, 92 on Tuesday, 89, 88, and 87. So in the upper 80s as we hit a week from today. And there's no rain in the forecast until we get into next week. And as you can see, even the percentages are pretty low. So if you thought summer was done, no way. And it is definitely going to show you here over the next few days. So if you change your closets out from summer to fall already, you're going to have to get those summer clothes back out. Think, again, sleeveless shirts, cute dresses for the guys. Again, don't put on those heavy jackets. If you do, you might want to have a short sleeve shirt on underneath it. All right, let's get into some news you can use. You might be excited about this. Apple unveiling the iPhone 17, and it is so thin looking. We've got a handful of pictures here we're going to show you. It is unveiling the iPhone lineup amid Trump's trade war, and it's not just the iPhone, but we're talking about watches as well as your earbuds. The iPhone 17 lineup, including a slimmed down model that will adopt the Air name that Apple already uses for its sleekest iPads and Mac computers. In what has become an annual right for Apple, all 4 new iPhone 17 models will feature better cameras, longer lasting batteries than last year's lineup. The iPhone 17 will all boast at least 256 gigabytes of storage. That doubles the minimum amount from the last generation. And Apple's CEO Tim Cook says we are raising the bar again. Now, the new iPhones are the first to be released since President Trump returned to the White House and unleashed a barrage of tariffs in what his administration says is an attempt to bring overseas manufacturing right back here to the United States, a crusade that has thrust some into the hot seat, including Apple's CEO. But again, for all of you that are excited about when is this all coming out, all 4 models, which will be the basic iPhone 17 at $800, the iPhone 17 Pro Max, $1,200. They're sticking with the same starting price for the basic lines, but all 4 models will be in stores coming up on September 19th. Are you excited about this? Are you the kind of person? I used to talk to some of my friends when I was in television. They wanted to be the very first to get it as soon as it rolled out. Are you like that, or do you want to wait a little bit? That's just such an unbelievable price tag for those phones. But it is us carrying around a little mini computer, right? So that's the big news around nationally. We also want to talk about a recall for those of you that have Ford vehicles. They are recalling, actually, some are saying almost 1.5 million. I saw another report that said almost 2 million vehicles due to a rear view camera issue. It includes certain vehicles from model years 2015 to 2019, the Lincoln Navigator, Lincoln MKC, Mustangs, Rangers, Transit Connect, the Econoline, the Edge, and then Expedition, F-250, SD, 350, 450, and 550. Again, it can reduce or distort your view of what's behind your car and increase the risk of a crash. So the National Highway Traffic Administration is saying in their safety recall report that Ford is aware of 18 accidents already. No injuries, though, related to that camera issue. There will be no charge for the service, so you will be notified by mail, instructed to take your car to a Ford or a Lincoln dealer to have that inspected and replaced if it is necessary. All right, there's a new state law here in Missouri that could freeze real estate taxes. So this is one of those things that could be good for you, but not necessarily good for the school district. So it's one hand great, one hand not so much. Senate Bill 3 was aimed at funding the Kansas City Chiefs and Royals stadium projects, but inside that bill is a measure allowing for the freezing of property taxes in some Missouri counties. It could hurt the quality of your local school and your fire departments, and St. Charles and Jefferson and Franklin counties are on the list. Yesterday, St. Charles County Council passed a bill putting the tax freeze question on the April 2026 ballot. The state law requires counties like St. Charles to put the question to voters, asking if they want to freeze their real estate taxes in the form of a tax credit. Jefferson and Franklin County voters will likely face that similar ballot question. Again, you'll remember that maybe when you went to the polls last time, and now it is, okay, is this actually going to be good for us or not? Again, as I said, on one hand, yes, maybe on one hand, no. This is a story that normally I wouldn't do, but because there are other victims that are out there, I need you to see this person, and please talk to your children if they took piano lessons and ask them to speak up, because this is when we need to be aware and we need to step in to help our children. Yesterday, a former piano teacher was charged with more child sex crimes. This is 39-year-old Daniel Yavitz, charged with 3 counts of statutory sodomy or attempted statutory sodomy with a child under 12 years of age in the city. He's been charged in June for abusing one of his piano students at his U City home. He also used to work, though, at the Parkway School District. And according to court records, police detectives were investigating Yavitz's house when they discovered a journal. And in that journal, he talked about babysitting from 2017 to March of 2025. The journal contains several entries. He would babysit her at a home in St. Louis City. That child was interviewed by detectives and described several occasions of sexual abuse from 39-year-old Yavitz, specifically when she was 3 to 5 years old. Now, in that journal, there are other entries from 2022 to 2025 where he described other little girls. And because of that, that is why I'm asking you to look at this picture, start telling your friends, maybe they had this person as a piano teacher. St. Louis County prosecutors are asking you to look at this closely, and if you believe that you know a victim, please contact authorities immediately. And as I do that, it seems very fitting to do this next story about hate ending now. Our whole show is about being kind right now. Every single day we end the show with that and try to push that message forward. Well, Hate Ends Now is the latest exhibit at the St. Louis Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum, and it's presented inside a historic rail car replica similar to those used during Nazi Germany. This exhibit will be on display today until Sunday. Tickets are needed for entry, and if you're interested in seeing the display, you can book their tickets on the St. Louis Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum website. All right, Girl Scout fans. Girl Scouts announcing a new cookie? What? Oh, yeah. Look at this. When the Girl Scout cookie sales start in January, a new cookie is in the lineup. So, yesterday, the organization announced the addition of a Rocky Road inspired cookie called Explore More's. It's a new chocolate cookie that has a creamy filling with notes of chocolate and marshmallow and toasted almond flavored cream. Yum. Like the other cookies, they will be sold online and in person by your local troops. Nearly 700,000 scouts will take part in the cookie sale each year. And earlier this year, they revamped the cookie lineup. They discontinued the s'mores and the toast yay. And now, again, the new one is Explore More's. Keep that one away from me because that one sounds dangerous. All right, in sports, St. Louis Cardinals, they lost, unfortunately, again to the Mariners. Final score was 5-3. They are in action again today, late game at 8:40. And then on Friday, it's the Cards in Milwaukee against the Brewers. That game will be at 7:12. And as we wrap up with the National Day of calendar, just two things on it today: National TV Dinner Day and National Swap Ideas. That is what's on tap for you on this National Day of. All right, see, you're all up to date. I hope you're all having a great start to your morning. We are going to get into health. So we do some medical Mondays, we do wellness Wednesdays, workout Wednesdays. It's all about health and fitness, keeping your body moving, your mind strong, and your spirit filled with joy. That's what we try to give you. So when it comes to the body, how does it operate? Is it not operating properly? Are you frustrated with it? Well, we're going to talk about Legacy Physical Therapy and your pelvic floor muscles. Did you know that there is a physical therapist that specializes in that? Dr. Brooke Kalisiak. She's going to be my guest when we return. Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant. There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map. Does it scare you? Do you go through fear?
Terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
Good morning. And again, if you're just tuning in, thanks for being a part of the show. I'm Monica Adams. You're tuned into the Real Monica Adams Show. And we're going to get real here with your health. I'm going to introduce you to a guest that you may or may not have seen on Labor Day. I know a lot of you were running around, but I wanted to give you a special show that day. And who she was with has been lit up. Jenny Gabriel was talking about how much she loved my guest. And she's like, I would just love her. And how, again, she educated us and just lit up the room. So I'm really hoping those two ladies get a chance to work together. You hopefully have met through the beauty of these shows, Jenny, but maybe you didn't get a chance to see Dr. Brooke Kalisiak with Legacy Physical Therapy. So let me bring my guest on. Good to see you again and get you out to an audience that's not running around during a holiday.
Yes, it's wonderful to be here. Thanks for having me.
So do you like this warmer weather we're getting? Or were you ready for fall?
I was so ready for fall. I'm like that fall football weather.
Yes.
And just, putting a sweatshirt on. And
right? Don't we all agree with her?
Yeah. We're going down to the Missouri State games this weekend because my son's in the marching band down there.
Oh, very cool.
I wanted jeans and a sweatshirt.
I know, right?
And now it's
That's
like
not
tank
happening.
tops
95.
and short. I was like, yep, guess that's what we're doing.
I literally had to remind myself as I was looking at the forecast of what the heck, what am I going to wear today? So it's so confusing. This is very lightweight. lightweight, but I'm like, okay, do I wear sleeveless? So you actually picked the
I
right
went
outfit.
sleeveless.
So that's how you should dress. All right, let's give you some background on Legacy Physical Therapy. You opened it in what year?
2008.
Yes. So they've been around for a while. A couple of locations, by the way. And one of the things that I loved is, I've teamed up over the years with a lot of people in the health industry, a lot of physical therapists as well. And then when I met Dr. Kalisiak, it was, wait, you specialize in what? Wow. I love this. So you're finding on the screen, again, where you can find them and follow them on social media, check out their website, their phone number as well. But I want you to listen to this as well as ask any questions that relate to you. And don't be bashful. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I think a lot of people are shy, like, oh, no, that doesn't happen to me. The more people talk about it, the better.
Yes.
So we did mention this a little bit, but I kind of want to bring it back since maybe some of you didn't get a chance to see that particular show. How did you get into specializing into the pelvic floor muscles?
Yes. So I'm a physical therapist by trade, but I've always had a passion about helping women and men, because everyone has a pelvis,
Right.
kind of optimize their pelvic health. And really, I saw when I went to open Legacy Physical Therapy back in 2008, I saw a huge hole in the St. Louis market, that there were very few pelvic physical therapists, and the ones that existed were wonderful, but were tucked inside a hospital system. So no one could find them. No one knew what it was. And so I opened Legacy Physical Therapy to really kind of shout from the rooftop, so to speak, about that there are these pelvic health conditions like bladder leakage or pelvic organ prolapse or pain with intercourse that have conservative treatment options. Because way too often people think it's just something I have to deal with, like something that's just a normal part of aging,
Right.
or the only options that they're given are to take medications or to undergo a surgery. And they're like, well, I don't want to go down that route. And there's actually many, many conservative treatment options, things that people can do to get back in control any type of pelvic health issues that they're dealing with.
Right. And Dr. Brooke, one of the things that I want to stress today, and I love what you have on the back of your shirts.
Yes.
Tell everybody that.
So our hashtag is common, not normal.
Okay, stressing that. Common, not normal. You all probably have believed, oh, my mom went through that, my grandma went through that, my dad went through that. That's just what we're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
And I want to get to them as well, those that are still dealing with it, that are older, in the mindset of an older generation of, well, no. This is just what we have to do. There's nothing we can do. I want to start with that before we get into busting some of these myths. If someone is in their 60s, 70s, even 80s or more, you can help no matter what age.
Yeah, no matter what age.
I want y'all to hear that.
It's never too old to start and make a change on your body. I think our oldest client to date has been a 93-year-old woman with bladder leakage, and we were able to help her out. And
Really?
So you can make a change at any age. Now, if you've been dealing with an issue for 3 decades, it might take a little bit of
I was just
time
gonna say that.
to make that change, but it's not something that you have to live with. And honestly, for the aging population, one of the most common things that lands mom or dad into a nursing home is bowel and bladder issues, and that the family doesn't feel like they can
work with that, yep.
help with that aspect and work with that aspect anymore. And so mom and dad end up going to a nursing home. So it's like, well, if we can do something to help you stay in control of the bowel and bladder stuff, that lets you age comfortably in your home
Yes.
and not have to go down that route. and
Right.
So
Yeah, they absolutely do not. Well, again, we're not going to judge anyone if that's what's had to have happened, but maybe you can think about that and say, I had no idea that she can help mom and dad, and maybe we can bring them back home. Maybe they don't have to be there. But yes, you look at family members and you would think they would say, okay, well, we'll do whatever it takes, but they may not know that this exists.
Correct.
That's why we wanted to bring her on. I think that's a good point that you made at the beginning of, well, if it was in a hospital system, it's very hard to navigate through that. But if we're saying, no, here she is, she's got these 2 locations. I did ask you, I think, back for the Labor Day show, is it something where they have to be referred to you? Or?
So by Missouri state law, you can go to a physical therapist, like you can just choose to go and call up and schedule an appointment. There might be certain insurance requirements that your insurance company might require a referral from the doctor, but like that doesn't mean that needs to stop you in your tracks. So
Right.
you can call up our office and, talk with our front desk and kind of get something scheduled, and then we can work with you depending on, what your insurance is to get what you need to get going.
Again, if you're just tuning in, Dr. Brooke Kalisiak Kalisiak. We're talking about legacy physical therapy, your pelvic floor muscles. Before we get into the myths, you just mentioned not just women, and that's why I put in the description, women and men both. We've got some really good slides that kind of break this down. So as we look at women to men, can you talk about the differences and what they would be experiencing to know that they need to come to you?
So women and men can experience a lot of the same issues. So bladder leakage is probably one of the most common thing that we see people coming in for, but it might be the time of life and that. So for our men who are dealing with bladder issues, it's oftentimes when they're dealing with a prostate issue or having prostate cancer treatments and having issues after the fact. For women, it can kind of occur at any point in their life. We've seen as young as teenage girls who are leaking with their athletic activity, or maybe when they laugh or giggle with their friends, they're having leakage, to women of childbearing age, or all the way up to women in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who are starting to have leakage at that point in their life. So women's pelvic health issues tend to span more across their lifespan, and it's more common that we tend to see older individuals, men who are dealing with issues. But that being said, we've seen many pelvic pain patients who are men who are in their 20s or 30s dealing with it too. So although it's more common at an older age, it can happen at any point in lifetime.
And I mentioned in the beginning, this isn't something, and this is why we do real talk on this show. It is not something to be shy and bashful about, and like a lot of times sit with something in silence and never say anything to anybody and think it's just something you're going to have to deal with. And, you know, while some people might think it's an awkward conversation, that's literally why we're doing this regularly on health shows is, can we just wipe that away?
Yeah.
Right? We all have our bodies. We're going to look at what a men's body looks like, what a man's body, what a woman's body looks like, what our organs are, and what we should be paying attention to. So if it is somebody younger, you just mentioned teen, which made me go, wow, what? Yeah. Because when you think about this, a lot of times it is thinking, oh, well, it's my parents or it's my grandparents. It's my aunt and uncles. That's not me. But if you've got someone who's younger, it's probably even harder for them to be like, what the heck?
Yes.
But it's not normal.
No, it's not normal. And I feel like as a society, we have started talking about bladder leakage and pelvic health issues a little bit more.
Yes.
Unfortunately, a lot of it seems to revolve around like the best new product for leakage and that. So, but at least it's the conversation going. And so I'm hoping, and it tends to happen when we have a patient come to our office, especially the women, they're like, yeah, I went back and I had lunch with all of my girlfriends and they were asking me all about what you do and what's going on here. And so I was telling them all of what you did and telling them my exercises and that. And I think some of them are going to call you. and so we're, you know, it's kind of a grassroots effort of people experiencing the helpfulness of pelvic physical therapy and then going out there and telling their friends and family members.
Talk about it. Again, what used to in your mind be taboo is now everyone's saying, please give me this information, right? We all want to get better. I will say from a social media standpoint, you will be scrolling along and you'll see personal trainers, a lot of women that will come back going, okay, after babies, you need to work on these pelvic health, pelvic muscles. But is it something that would make their delivery better and easier if they were working on them before they had a baby?
We love seeing women during their pregnancy, even when they're trying to conceive. So we work with women who are having issues trying to conceive because there could be muscle tension, scar tissue issues, past surgical issues that can cause problems and make that journey a little bit more difficult. So we love working with that population. And during the pregnancy, even if someone's not dealing with an issue, we love to get them in for what we call birth prep, where we get to see how flexible they are through the hip and pelvic area. We get to see how well they can actually create a push. Like most women never try and push in that area until they're in labor and delivery. And it's like, I don't know how to do this. So they get to practice it ahead of time and find the best pushing methods that work for them and feel more confident going into their labor and delivery. And so a lot of times these women then have less tearing, less chance for an episiotomy, and easier recovery afterwards. So yeah, we highly recommend that people come in during their pregnancy, even if you're not experiencing an issue, to get a sense of what's going on in the pelvic area so that you can optimize your body for that delivery.
Again, we want that body working like it's supposed to. You know, you want that, right? So that's a very important part that I want you to think about. Someone that you may know that is trying to get pregnant or is for them to get this information, pass it along. We love when you share and like and follow everything, but it is so that you can send that out to your viewers. Jeannie said, is there even normal anymore? We are all unique, which actually Dr. Kalisiak had said when I asked her, so what should we be doing and what kind of exercises, et cetera? And she was like, it's not just one size fits all.
Correct. There are some norms when it comes to our general pelvic health issues. One example is that typically we should, if we're drinking a normal amount of fluid, we should be going to the bathroom every 2 to 4 hours.
Okay.
That's a norm for it. But she's right that we are all unique. There is no this is the one best exercise.
Right.
That's kind of one of my pet peeves when I see the fitness influencers like, I have the one exercise to get your abs back after baby. And it's, there is no one exercise that does that. There's no one specific pelvic health exercise that's going to work well for everyone. That's why getting evaluated by a pelvic physical therapist can be so helpful to get it individualized. So instead of just say you've had a baby and your OB, hands you a piece of paper afterwards, like, 6-week checkup, you look great. Maybe do some Kegel exercise. Here's a handout on it. And they're like, what do I do?
Where do I even start? Yes.
So.
Well, and we're going to talk about the myths that are out there and believing, oh, okay, so they're talking about the pelvic floor muscles. Okay, I just do Kegels. No. There's so many levels of what she can do for you. Let's see. Jeannie also says, okay, doctor, I've done Kegel exercises since my first child. I don't have problems yet. However, I'm 71 and counting, and one day I'm sure that I may.
Well, the fact that you've been exercising your pelvic area since you've had kids is a great thing, that you may not develop issues, and that just because we're getting older doesn't mean that we're going to develop issues. Yes, it is as we get older, and for women, once we hit that menopausal age and we lose estrogen content, that puts us at a higher risk factor for having issues. But one of the key things that you can do to mitigate that risk is making sure that you are exercising that area and are using those muscles and be doing that for a long time. And that's so, Jeannie, you might not develop issues because you have been proactive like this.
But be aware, and actually we'll take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you and think about this, what are the signs that people should be paying attention to? Men and women both, and obviously, as you just heard her say, all ages. What I'm going to stress here is don't be afraid to ask a question live, because what you have concerning you may all of a sudden spark someone else going, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that person asked. So be that person that finds your voice and opens up and asks these questions. Again, either live now, or if you watch this later, if you're rushing around, we get it. Come back and watch the show. This is going to be very informative for you. We're going to bust through some myths that are out there. Don't go anywhere. More with Dr. Brooke Kalisiak with Legacy Physical Therapy when we return. Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant. There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map. Does it scare you? Go through fear?
It's terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
Well, welcome back. Again, the Real Monica Adams Show. I see a lot of you signing on. Don't be shy. We just went into the break saying, find your voice, ask the questions. You have the doctor in the house. Why would you not? Dr. Brooke Kalisiak, again, Legacy Physical Therapy. 2 locations for you. Again, as she just said, you can choose your physical therapist. You don't have to sit there and wait, try to get a doctor, to get a referral. Why go through dealing with all of these issues when you can go directly to her? So there's all the information of how you can find them. Again, where their location locations are, the website, the phone number, etc. They've been there for you since 2008, and maybe this is the first time that you are hearing about it. I'm glad, though, that you are, so that she can help you and she can help your family and your friends. Jeannie just said, and I think this is interesting before we get to these myths, Kegel exercises over the past 42 years help me hold it longer. No guarantees when I get giggling. I'm glad she said that, though, because is it dangerous for us to be holding? You just said we should be going to the bathroom every 2 to 4 hours.
So yes, it is. We that 2 to 4 hour range is kind of that normal range for how long you should be able to hold it. We kind of have a running joke in our office that it's really common for us to see retired teachers and retired nurses, because those are two professions where those people hold it all day long. Like they just don't have
That's
the
not good,
opportunity.
is it?
It's not the best for our bladder. That our bladder is an expandable balloon that's designed to hold and then release. But if we keep training it to the end of the range, and that it can get unhappy with that over time, and that so it's almost like your body does it and does it and does it, and then it's finally like, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
And that so we don't want to be like a camel and try and hold it for 8 hours at a time. Like this isn't a badge of honor. Like how long can I hold it for? But many people struggle to be in that 2 to 4 hour range. We have people on the other end of the spectrum who are like, I go to the bathroom about every 30 to 40 minutes. Like I can't make it through a movie. I can't make it through dinner with friends.
Yep.
I need to know where all the bathrooms are. You know, they're like, I can tell you where the best bathrooms are in St. Louis because I have scouted them all out, because I might need to stop on a drive and pull over for a bathroom.
That bad. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a very good friend of mine, and we would go to movies, and she's like, I've got to sit on the end because I'm going to go to the bathroom. And I was like, you might need, I wish I'd known about you back then, because I was like, well, that's not normal.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, it is. No, it's not.
It's common, not normal.
Yes, that's what we're going through today. Okay, so we're going to go through some myths, and we kind of said this already, but let's break it down even more. Myth 1, only women experience pelvic health issues.
Correct. All of us have a pelvis, so all of us have pelvic floor muscles, so all of us can have issues in the area. So our pelvic floor muscles are muscles just like anywhere else in our body. They're just like our bicep muscle or quadricep muscle. So they can be too tense and tight. They can be too loose and relaxed. They can have scar tissue or damage to them. They can be in a spasm. They can be too weak and not working well. They might not coordinate together with other muscles. So all of that's just what the muscles themselves are doing, but everything's so close together there. Our bladder is right behind it, then our uterus and vagina, and our rectum behind that. Obviously, our male counterparts don't have the uterus and vagina part, but that bowl of pelvic muscles is the same. It still works for the same way in both situations. And so we want to make sure that those muscles are strong and supple and working the way that they're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. And so you're talking about scar tissue, et cetera. When you first have somebody come in, they're obviously, doing a consultation with you. This is what I've been through, et cetera. If they've had surgeries, then maybe that scar tissue has built up. Yeah. If it's been a while, and this is why we like people to get to something earlier, but if it's been a while, you had mentioned earlier that if they've been dealing with bladder issues for a while, it might take a little longer, but this is why it's important that we're bringing her in so that you can get this aha moment of, maybe I should go in earlier. Otherwise, you're trying to break all that scar tissue down.
Correct. So scar tissue does the majority of the healing in the first couple months, but can take up to a year to kind of fully situate into like how that final scar is going to be. But we've had people who are like a decade out from surgeries, and we can make a change on that scar tissue, but it's going to take a lot longer because it's been there. So really, yes, I honestly, I'm kind of championing people coming in like at that 4 to 6 week mark after surgeries to get evaluated. Okay. I myself had a gallbladder surgery last year and came and saw my therapist at my office because I knew, even though I just had little laparoscopic scars, I knew it would affect how my abdominal muscles were functioning, which might affect how that whole core canister of the pelvic floor and diaphragm and abdomen are working together. So, like, because I know what I know, I went to therapy, like, once I got the green light from my surgeon to make sure that everything was moving well. But too often, this area of the body, when we have any type of surgery, it's kind of like, okay, cool, like, rest for 6 weeks and then go back to whatever you're doing. And you're like, but you know what, if I had a knee replacement, I'm going to weeks of therapy
That's what I was just gonna say.
afterwards, or I had a
And you go
rotator cuff
pretty
repair.
quick.
Yeah, and you're working to make sure all of the muscles and everything are doing what they should be doing afterwards, but we kind of ignore this area of the body and the muscles around there. And it's like, no, this is a really important area of the body. Let's not ignore what they're doing.
I'm thinking of a very dear friend of mine that had surgery, and I just think if she had you, and again, all of you that are listening right now, you now have a Dr. Brooke in your lives, all right? But you got to get into her. She would have probably broken down that scar tissue and not had as many problems. Well, actually, she's running into some problems again, so I'll introduce the two of you. I want you all to understand this. And again, as you're tuning in now, later, sharing it, etc., understand that if you're having the surgery, I mean, again, I remember shoulder surgery, immediately going, oh, I'm going to physical therapist in 4 days. Holy cow. Okay, we're going to do this. Oh, this is painful, but you're getting my range of motion back. All of this, we got to get it working again. So again, men and women both, as we said. So that's myth number one. Myth number two, pelvic health only matters after giving birth. So that is what I was going to go to. I'm glad you put this in the myths, because the biggest thing that I see on social media is only geared towards women having children.
Yes, that having a baby is probably the most common risk factor for developing a pelvic health issue, because it is such a big change on the body. So I'm not going to lie, that is really going to put you at risk potentially for having a pelvic health issue. But like I said earlier, everyone has a pelvis, so everyone has pelvic floor muscles and can potentially develop issues. So we definitely work with teenagers who are dealing with pain with their period or are having leakage with their athletic activity. And leakage that early on in life is a risk factor for it happening again later on in life and potentially having problems. And it's a sign that the pelvic floor muscles just aren't working well in the way that they're supposed to be. And many of our clients don't ever have children and are still dealing with pelvic health issues. And so it just because that's the most common population doesn't mean that other people don't develop issues with it.
Right, and I want you all to think that, because that is, for me, if we didn't have this in the mess, it's the number one question I wanted to give to you, because all I ever hear is that part of the population. And I'm like, well, no, we all have those muscles. We, again, men, women, both, whether you are having children or you have never had children, you still are running into problems. And if you are, this is why you need her. We're going to go through and get to myth 3 in just a second, but I always want to make sure that you're heard. So Rose said, as soon as my body knows I'm walking to the bathroom, I swear sometimes it starts streaming. I'm past Kegels, the floodgates open. People keep telling me I need a bladder lift.
So without knowing more of your situation, Rose, I'm not sure I can speak to whether or not you need a bladder lift, but what you're talking about is an urge incontinence situation where we feel the urge to go and we may be on the way or even getting up from the chair and walking to the bathroom, and it's like, uh-oh, like I can't get there in time. Like she says, the floodgates open, the stream flows and that. And so there are several kind of behavioral techniques that you can do to help to minimize that urge and control. And it's oftentimes not related to Kegel exercises, like just trying to contract the pelvic floor. It's kind of training the body. It's almost like that Pavlov's dog situation, and that where we're like, oh, we know there's a bathroom right there on the other side of the door. And the bladder's like, cool, like let's, and it's like, no, we can't go yet. And so we have to actually retrain our body. Our bladder is a trainable organ. Unfortunately, sometimes it trains us, and we can fight back from that, and we can train it to help in this situation.
There you go. And again, like I said, I know tons of people that I've personal trained over the years, all these girls that have always said, this is just something we have to deal with. I just want to break through that stigma immediately. And for Rose and for all of you that are writing in or that are sitting there silent and a little bashful to say anything, I really do hope you pick up the phone and schedule an appointment with her, because I don't deal with it, but I watch my mom deal with it. My godmother, she deals with it, and I'm going to tell them right away. I wanted to know, and that's why I started asking, and if you missed it, it doesn't matter the age. So while my mom's in her 80s, I want her to not have to deal with that. My aunt in her 70s don't need you to deal with that. So again, there's your two locations. You have a way to get your body functioning properly. So again, we got to break through the mindset that you're just going to have to deal with it, and this is a normal thing. It's not common, but not normal. Julie said, I never thought of that, doctor. I've had 8 female surgeries. It makes sense. Never had any therapy.
No, unfortunately, most of the time the gynecological surgeons don't even think about sending to rehab. And
crazy.
so we're trying to champion it from the other side and letting our patients know that like you're going to have to be the advocate for it. It's not going to be a common recommendation.
Why? Why would this not, I guess this, to me, this is the most important question I'm going to ask. Why wouldn't OBGYNs and other doctors work hand in hand with physical therapists that do this when, if you think of an orthopedic surgeon, they are working hand in hand with a PT immediately?
I think it has to deal with the type of medical training that they get, that they're cramming in so much important life-saving information into their training that unfortunately the training on the pelvic floor muscles and how they relate to what's going on, it's minimal for them. So as a pelvic physical therapist, we're the experts in how these muscles work and function together. Like I said, you wouldn't want me doing your prolapse surgery, but you don't want your urogynecologist telling you how to rehab your pelvic floor. Right. And so we have our different area of expertise, and unfortunately, we just haven't kind of caught up to all of those working together.
It's time.
It is time. It is time.
Yeah, you know what? And I hope that this show can, really open that conversation up and have more physicians get this to your doctor. Take this show, start talking to them, maybe take some notes when you're going into your doctor and say, hey, think about this. Get them thinking about it. Again, I'm very big into pairing people up in the medical industry to make them go, well, shoot, yeah, I probably should have done that. I don't want them to have to be dealing with these things. Maybe we could have gotten to those earlier. Let's see. I've had 3 C-sections. What damage was done there? Anything I need to do?
So with C-section, some women think, oh, I had a C-section. Cool, I'm safe. My pelvic floor is A-okay. And you still carried the babies for 9 months. And so I describe that kind of as a time period where you had a bowling ball bouncing on your pelvic floor trampoline. So you can still have pelvic floor issues even if you don't deliver vaginally. And C-section is a major surgery that cuts through several layers, skin, fascia, muscle, multiple muscle layers, cuts open the uterus. All of that is affected. And so the scar might heal and look beautiful. And that's what I see a lot of times is people say, my surgeon says the scar looks great.
Yeah, but what's underneath?
But they never touched it. They never, felt it to see how it's moving and how the abdominal muscles are moving afterwards and how they're working afterwards. And that's where we come in, is making sure like, well, yeah, the scar looks pretty, but it's not moving very well. And that's affecting how well your abdominal muscles are working. And if this isn't working well, that might put extra pressure down through the pelvic floor, and you might change how you recruit things. And so, making sure that everything is working well together becomes really important. And, I'm not lying. Sometimes there are women who have a C-section or a vaginal delivery who just recover beautifully. Yeah. Like that does happen. And that's like, wow, you're one of the lucky ones. and that's great.
Other women
for
are
you.
like, I hate you.
Yeah. It's like, wait, how'd that happen? And that, but many women could benefit from some assistance to get feeling better and make sure everything's working well together.
Right. Again, great questions. Keep them coming in. Before we take a break, and we're going to go through some more of these myths, Julie just said, do you take insurance, FSA?
We definitely work with flexible spending accounts, FSA accounts, HSA accounts, and that. So we work with all insurances. We're out of network with some, in network with some. We have a very open conversation with people on your first phone call as to what's going to be involved with you and the potential costs that you might be having to pay for. That's one of my key things. I don't like that there's not transparency in finances in the medical world. So we are very transparent in what costs you might have to pay so that you can make an informed decision up front.
Absolutely. All right, we've got a handful more of our myths. Some of them we've touched on just a little bit, but we will bring them back into play for those of you that just tuned in. Dr. Brooke Kalisiak, Legacy Physical Therapy. Again, let's get that body moving the way it's supposed to. We'll have more of your questions and the myths that we're busting when we return.
I was just on the Real Monica Adams show, and it was really a good experience for me. When I walked in, the building is just peaceful. The environment is beautiful here. Monica really made me feel welcome.
The Monica Adams show allows people to be themselves. It's really important to share kindness, to be real, to offer stories and things that will give people hope and a reason to smile.
rather than waking up aggravated, disappointed, and wondering, where's this earth going, choose to wake up with something that'll put your mind and your heart in the right direction. Start with Monica.
Did you look at the calendar? We're still in summer. Did you look at the forecast? Did you hear what we said at the beginning? It's still summer and big time. This weekend, you know what? If your pool's still open, please take advantage of it. 95 degrees. Definitely not fall weather this weekend at all. So enjoy having it open maybe for the next couple of weeks if you need to get in and get it clear. So Jim's talking about closing ours on Friday. Because of how hot it is, I'm hoping we can keep it open. So I'm going to go into Madonna and say, let's figure this out. Why is it still green? It's just been a hard summer with how hot it's been, the humidity, the lack of rain, then the rain. It's just been a really nuts summer. Just Pools, they are brilliant when it comes to, nope, you got to do this, you got to do this. Let Madonna and her team evaluate what's going on, bring that water sample up, and then get your chemicals, by the way, because you will be closing it within the next couple of weeks. So just go up there and ask them what needs to be done, and then take advantage of some of the sales that they have as we do the end of the year as well. Just Pools, thank you so much for being a part of the show. They're located in Arnold at 3987 West Outer Road South. Give them a call, or better yet, just stop in and tell them thanks so much for being a part of the Real Monica Adams Show. Welcome back to you again, Dr. Brooke Kalisiak, our guest from Legacy Physical Therapy. We're running through some myths, and we touched on a couple of these, Doctor, as we get into the next one. So as far as 3 and 4, bladder leakage, something that only happens as we get older. We did mention that, and that you should have to push to pee. Anything else you want to touch on with that we didn't?
With the push to pee and that, so that's a common woman thing. I think that's a mom thing that, like, man, we got 30 seconds to ourselves in the bathroom, and true. So we're getting it done as quick as possible. But we are designed to sit, relax, and just let it flow. And so for those who commonly push to pee, when they're trying to break that habit, what I tell them is actually set a timer for 1 minute on your phone and just let yourself sit for a minute. It will feel like an eternity to you if you're used to trying to get in and out, but you can also tell yourself it's just 1 minute.
Yeah.
And I just can breathe and relax and let the flow happen. And you can train yourself to just let that flow happen and not have that kind of strain and push, which over time puts a lot of extra pressure down through the pelvic floor, which can be detrimental.
Right. And then we mentioned earlier that no, it's not just as you get older. It's not, oh, okay, well, I'm fine now, but maybe it's going to come when I'm in my 60s and 70s and 80s. She mentioned earlier, in case you just tuned in, that there are people that are in their teens. They could be in their 20s and 30s. So no, that is a myth that's out there. Okay, how about number 5? It's normal to go to the bathroom all the time, which we said just a little bit, like, hey, I'm in the movie theater, I got to go every 30 minutes. That's not normal.
Correct. We should not have to know where every bathroom in St. Louis is. That you should be able to be drinking a normal amount of fluid and go to the bathroom every 2 to every 4 hours. Okay. And so I always point out the normal amount of fluid, because sometimes people are like, yeah, I can do that as long as I just don't drink throughout the day. And It's like, no, dehydrating yourself is bad,
yes,
and actually can be harmful to your bladder. When we dehydrate ourselves to try and avoid peeing or avoid leakage, that makes our urine more concentrated, and actually our bladder likes that even less and can send stronger urges to help us, to tell us to try and get rid of the urine in the bladder.
Okay.
And so you can actually be kind of shooting yourself in the foot by trying to drink less to avoid leakage, because your bladder will be like, no, I don't like the feeling of this, and can give you stronger urges and make you want to empty your bladder even more or even more forcefully, and that can be problematic and lead to more leakage or problems.
So I was just going to say, because on the other end of the spectrum, there might be a lot of people going, oh, I don't go to the bathroom for 6, 7, 8 hours. I'm fine.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a good thing.
Correct. You may have trained, your bladder may have trained you, or you may have trained your body because of what you have to do throughout the day or whatever, to be able to hold that long. And that one might be a sign that you are dehydrating yourself a little bit too. Over time, your bladder is not going to be happy with that, because over time our tissues lose water content. We aren't as elastic. We're not as flexible with stuff, including our bladder. So over time, as we do get into our 60s and 70s, our bladder can't expand as much. And so it won't be able to hold as long. And that can potentially be when you start to notice the problem with it.
I know that you work with human beings, but I'm going to ask this for all of us pet parents. Is it a good thing or not a good thing that we are teaching dogs to hold their bladder until we come home from an 8-9 hour day?
I don't know that there have actually been any studies on like
There
the
needs
dog.
to be.
I get you there and that because I've done it too. It's like, okay, pup, like yeah, I'll be back in 8 hours
Right.
and that, and so they don't seem to be as affected by it as humans are. But again, I also don't know if there's been any solid research studies that
have
say
all this
that's
I want.
bad for our dog.
Well, we've got positive talk time tomorrow, by the way. I may
There you go.
ask, I'll
There you
ask
go.
Jessica that and see, because I was wondering if some of the exercises we do, if we can teach them to do some things. Can you see that? That would be a good video.
that would be interesting.
All right, 2 more. 6. Pelvic floor weakness is the only dysfunction that people can experience.
Yes. So our pelvic floor muscles, like I said, muscles like anywhere else in the body. And unfortunately, in the pelvic area, a lot of times people just get told to do strengthening exercises or Kegel exercises. So a Kegel is just a contraction of the pelvic floor muscles. And that is a strengthening exercise, which is fine if the muscles are too weak. But those muscles can commonly be too tight and tense. It's almost like I'm walking around like with my shoulders up in my ears. Everything's held really tense, and that can cause urgency and pain issues and potentially leakage issues. And so we can't just assume that, oh, I have a problem in this area, I must need to strengthen those muscles, because sometimes people start doing Kegel exercises because they're having leakage or urgency or pain issues, and that actually makes their symptoms worse because it's like it's trying to tighten up a muscle that's already tense and tight. And so getting evaluated to see what's going on with those muscles makes a huge difference as to, individualizing what you need to do.
And we've stressed this when I first brought her on, as well as now. All of you might be tuning in going, oh yeah, it's Kegels. That's what I do. Kegels is the only exercise for the pelvic floor muscles. No.
No, the pelvic floor muscle is part of our entire musculoskeletal system, and we talk about it a lot of times as the core canister. So our diaphragm on top, our pelvic floor muscles on the bottom, and our abdominal and our back muscles. All of those muscles of that core canister need to work and coordinate together, and we need to look at all of them to make sure that they're working well together. So what happens when we're doing good breathing? What happens when we recruit our abdominal muscles? How do those muscles work together? Because again, if we just look at the muscles in isolation, we're missing a big picture. It'd be like, when you said you went to shoulder rehab, it'd be like your therapist being like, oh, you had shoulder surgery? Go ahead and do some bicep curls. Like, not even looking at you, not even assessing what's going on with your shoulder, and just saying, you're going to do bicep curls. And it's like,
Doesn't make any sense.
that doesn't make sense.
Right.
So for us to say, oh, you have a pelvic issue, do Kegel exercises, that is just a very nondescript, prescription that just doesn't work for a lot of people.
Well, and again, maybe you've gone to someone that told you to do that, and then you have to come back going, well, I love the fact that Dr. Kalisiak is telling me, no, there's so much more. And again, we're looking at all of you that are signing on. We could have one of you that it works to do one thing, and then somebody else that's, no, we got to do this with you, which is why, again, all the videos and the pictures that we're showing you, you can see that everyone is working with her in different ways. So there's many things that you do. Obviously, we're talking about maybe doing exercises. You also do dry needling or...
Yep. So, we can do many different, what we call manual or massage type techniques to work on dry needling, cupping techniques. We have a soft wave machine to help regenerate and break up scar tissue and help regenerate tissues and healing process. We might be doing stretching exercises. We might be doing strengthening exercises. We're doing a lot of education on things that people can do on their own. So kind of some behavioral habit training stuff, so people can optimize their body, and really giving people the tools that they need to manage this, to get over this and manage it on their own. And that, like, we're a guide along the way, but I don't want you feeling like, well, I'm fine as long as I, keep coming every week. It's like, no, we want to get you better and then teach you what you need to do to maintain this for the lifetime.
Exactly. I mean, that's so many times you need to hear that, no, it is not, all right, I'm locked at the hip with you for life. Well, no. You've got to be doing these things. It's just anytime you go to any type of physical therapist, think about it. You go in, yes, they have you do things, but they ask you right away, have you been doing your exercises?
Yep.
She's going to ask you the same thing. I want to ask one more question. Thank you, Jeannie. I appreciate it. She said, fabulous show. Thank you both so much.
Thanks.
Absolutely. We will give you all the information of how you can find Dr. Brooke, but that was our myth 7, was that Kegels, again, are the only exercise you need for pelvic health. Stop thinking that. There's so many other things that she can do. And if you've been doing Kegels and you're like, well, this still isn't working, there's another issue there,
Yeah.
which is why you've got to get into her. Let me ask this question. As far as the color of urine, everyone's always been told that if it's that golden yellow, that's not a good thing. You're not drinking enough water, that it should be clearer. What is the truth of that?
So the whole like 8 ounce glasses of water, or you need to drink gallons of water, like everyone's different.
Okay.
Like I need different water amounts than you do because our body sizes are different and that. So I do use the color of pee to be a helpful reference for people. So I tell people that when you wake up in the morning, that first pee of the morning is going to be a brighter yellow because you've stored up overnight and that. But all your other peas after that should be a pale yellow. Okay. I have had people who we have to actually back off their water content some because they are peeing clear all day long. So if you're peeing clear, especially multiple times throughout the day, you can back off some of your fluid
Slow
intake.
it down,
Like
folks.
your body doesn't need that much fluid. Okay, so I have on both ends of the spectrum where it's like trying to get people to increase their fluid and others who, need to back off. And if you're one of those people who needs to increase it because your pee is always like that bright or darker yellow, then start slowly with it. I like to tell people, keep a water bottle with you. Preferably one with a straw that you can just sip on it and throughout
Hang
the
on.
day. Yeah, I was
I'm
going to say.
So you'll be happy with this?
Yeah, no, it's
Yay!
great.
Doc says, good job, Monica.
Because it's just easy to sip on it. And that it sounds crazy, but if you have to take the extra time to unscrew the lid, you
Yeah,
could
you're
have
not
it
gonna-
sitting on your desk
Yep.
all day long and never unscrew the lid. But if it's just there and you can just grab it and sip and put it back down, you're going to be more likely to drink it.
And lastly, this kind of goes into when I teamed you and Jenny Gabriel up together. When we talk about perimenopause, menopause, all of that, women are in their mindset thinking, well, I'm just going to have to constantly be getting up and going to the bathroom throughout the night, and I'm not sleeping. That's not normal either, to not be able to have a good sleep.
Correct. So if you are pregnant, you're going to be getting up at night most likely because there's a lot less room in there and the baby's pushing on the bladder. But other than that situation, until you're 65, you should be able to sleep through the night and your bladder is not waking you up and making you get up to go to the bathroom. Once we're 65 to the 75, getting up once a night is normal.
Okay.
Once we're 75 and older, getting up twice a night is normal. Anything more than twice a night is not normal, and that's only in that older situation. And so if you're 50 and getting up 2 times a night because of your bladder, that's disrupting good sleep and is not a normal habit.
And this is why you need to be thinking, did she just describe you? If so, then I want you to give her a call. All right, let's give you all this information. Again, 2 locations as you are seeing on the screen. So find the one that makes the most sense, Valley Park or St. Peter's. Again, phone numbers on the screen for you as well. LegacyTherapySTL.com. Brooke at LegacyTherapySTL.com is her email address. By the way, there's an E on the end of Brooke. And then on social, it's at Legacy Physical Therapy STL. Before we wrap up, let's see. Rose said, I take many meds. Does meds affect the color and the odor? Very good question.
That is a good question. So there are certain supplements and medications that can affect color and odor. So we might not be able to use urine color as a good indicator for
Right.
you. The one I think of the most is like vitamin K can make
Yes.
your pee a little bit more orange and that. So you're going to have a harder time telling that way. So might not be able to. But on that, medication can also potentially have an effect on bladder issues, and that so can, even if they're medications for other things, you can start to, like some people are on diuretic for blood pressure issues and that, and like they're like, oh, Brooke said I should be able to go every 2 to 4 hours. Well, if you take your diuretic in the morning, you're going to pee probably every hour on the hour until that diuretic is out of your system, because that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to draw water out of our body, send it into our bladder, and send it out. So there's certain medications that are going to affect your bladder, and might be things we have to work around, or they might be side effects that we're like, ooh, let's see if we can work to try and get you off this medication so that you're not having this issue.
Yeah, I was going to ask about supplementation, but I'm glad you asked about medicines because, yes, I know supplements do. Obviously, think about the things that you've eaten. Don't get startled by, oh my gosh, why is it that color? Well, I don't know. Did you just eat some asparagus or broccoli?
Yeah.
That's going to change it as well. Yes, Jeannie, see, you just said it. Vitamins change my color. Yes, and Char, we put them up on the screen. We'll put them up there again for you. She wanted to know where your locations were. She says 68 years and the last 2 years having to wear teen pads.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who, but I know somebody in my life that does the exact same thing. I'm like, that's not what you should be doing.
Correct. I mean, there are wonderful pads out there that, if the situation that you need it, like, yes, we want to use that because we want to protect the skin down there and make sure that we're not causing any skin issues or that kind of stuff. So we do want to use good pads, but if we are using pads, we want to figure out why we are using pads and what we can do to stop that.
Absolutely. Yeah, Char, I hope you give her a call. It sounds like you definitely need her help. And all of you that, again, asked the questions, thank you. Those of you that felt shy and bashful. In fact, I think at the end of the show, we'll do the devotional of shame. It makes sense. It seems very fitting today. You got the locations? Okay, very good. Yes, so you can go to either the Valley Park or the St. Peter's location. Give them a call. That's the first thing, is make the call and then get in and have your consultation and let Dr. Kalisiak take care of you. You're going to be back with us next month.
Yep.
We've talked about putting her on Wellness Wednesdays, Medical Mondays, so we'll discuss that. Again, brilliant physician, and I'm so glad that you are taking care of our audience. And again, don't suffer silently any longer. That's the greatest thing that we can say. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we have one final segment. We are going to check in to see how the transformation's going along. 1, 2, biomagnetic therapy in your hot tub. Interesting. Angie Hess with Spas and More. She's going to wrap up our show when we return. But by the end of this, I want 100% raising your hands. I'm here to empower you because you all have intrinsic value. I don't care if someone has told you that you don't. Today, we are here to make you believe in yourself.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bonacorsi, and I'm the president and founder of J Bloom. And I chose Monica Adams to be our keynote speaker because of the positivity that she illuminates whenever she speaks. She's an amazing influence and has so much impact on these women that they are going to leave changed.
It's a constant education. Never stop being the leader. If you are given the opportunity to be, and I hate the word boss, by the way, don't we like leader more? Have you all seen that image of a boss shouting behind their team and then the leader out in the trenches? And I know there's a lot of people that are thrown into your paths, and there are people who try to squash your dreams. It could be your partner, it could be your parents, your children, a boss that you've had, but you cannot, from this day forward, I'm going to ask you to not give them power any longer. So we think it, we write it, we hear it. Think right here. Make connections today. Then pave that way. You now have the awareness. So how do you pave that path?
Your message, like at the end, you can be anything, but before that, be kind.
Yep.
My husband's a pastor, and that every one of his sermons, that's always within it. That be kind.
Yep.
You have to be kind.
It is.
Oh, you're fine.
Look at this. So there's an employee out there who still thinks of you because you were kind to them. Never stop being that leader. By the way, I want to be remembered for this phrase when I'm no longer on this earth. The greatest rewards in life come from the most uncomfortable walk. God meant for me to talk to you. Oh, it's okay. You, honey, have a lot of value. And someone's told you that you don't. And I was meant to be in your life today. I've always said, I have chills. Do we all have chills? God, I say, if you can have me change one person's life, then I have done your job. I'm hoping it's all of you. But see, she's not okay for whatever reason. I don't know your story, but I'm going to tell you they're wrong. And all these women believe in you.
To hire Monica Adams for your next event, email info@therealmonicaadams.com.
And welcome back to all of you that are just signing on. Boy, did you miss an incredible medical-based show. Isn't she brilliant? Dr. Brooke Kalisiak, she'll be back next month. And by the way, feel free to reach out. If you felt a little embarrassed to ask questions, you can reach out to me or to her and let us address those coming up in October. Well, we have introduced you to my next guest, Angie Hess. She is with Spas and More, one of the owners of Spas and More in Sunset Hills. And we've been following your own journey. We've been following things that she deals with that maybe you do as well. But again, just like we talked about with Dr. Brooke, it's not normal things, right? You don't have to be dealing with those anymore. We keep talking about wanting to get the body to be the best version of itself. And she's going to agree with that. So Angie, first of all, good to see you in studio with us.
Hi, nice to see you again.
Are you feeling better? Because I know I was telling everybody, I'm like, oh, darn it, she wasn't on with us last week.
Yeah, I was. I am doing much better.
Good.
Yeah.
We want to get the bodies to be the best version of you that you can possibly be. So Angie, again, with Spas and More, and if you have not been yet or you haven't had a chance to go in to look at their amazing showroom, please do so at Spas and More STL, social media. As you can see, the website is spasandmorestl.com. And then located in the Sunset Hills area, again, off of the kind of Old Gravois area. So from the therapeutic side, that's really why we've been bringing Angie in, because that's my big focus. We just talked about taking care of the body. So when you think about with the therapeutic aspect of hot tubs, saunas, again, contrast therapy, has that become more and more people's focus in their minds of, okay, I used to think of a hot tub as a luxury item, but I'm hearing Angie and Monica saying, no, really, this is something that you should be doing for yourself to help you get your body moving the way it should.
Oh, very much so. We're finding more and more of our client base is all about health, wellness, fitness, because you're able to exercise in the swim spas. You're able to do the contrast therapy between the cold plunges and the saunas. The hot tubs that we have, hot water is always a therapeutic benefit, but some of our hot tubs have so many more advanced features that actually help and are designed for those people with muscle aches, pains, different types of arthritis and things like that.
What do you tell people that have an injury, or we were just talking about coming back from surgeries, again, breaking mindsets of, okay, I got to go and I got to put an ice pack on it. And maybe it's been days or weeks or months or years. Oh, I'm going to put an ice pack on it. Should we be doing cold? Should we be doing hot? Or should we be doing both?
You actually should be doing a combination of both. A lot of times you start with heat and then you move to ice, or you do it intermittently. So it's the same thing as contrast therapy for the full body, where you're going to heat and cold. But for injury rehab, I mean, you're doing the same thing. You're wanting to do that contrast.
Do you see a lot of people that have been dealing with their pain, their trauma for a long time, and maybe they should have gotten into you all earlier, but they come in and they tell you the stories of, all right, I am just every single day feeling that I'm sore, or I'm beyond sore, that I'm in a lot of pain. It's time for me to pull the trigger.
Very much so. I mean, that's one of the client base that I connect to the most, because I live every day in pain.
Right.
So I can speak from experience and just know exactly how they feel, but know how much more getting into one of our products can enhance their life and just their daily, everyday movement.
So if someone has autoimmune disorders, they have just constant inflammation, pain, again, whatever it may be, I want you to check with your doctor. I always stress that, check with your doctor, and then come in and sit down and talk with Angie and say, well, which one makes the most sense? We've talked over the last several weeks about swim spas, but I want to talk today, before we wrap up the show, about biomagnetic therapy that's in these hot tubs.
Yes.
Talk a little bit more about that.
So every one of our master spa hot tubs and our swim spas have a neck and shoulder seat, and in that neck and shoulder seat we have rare earth magnets embedded in the behind them. What that biomagnetic therapy does is similar to what athletes have used for years with like the copper bands and the electromagnets and things like that. But what that does is it helps stimulate the body. It helps stimulate the red blood cells. It helps bring them to the surface, and it helps reduce that inflammation. Being in the neck and shoulder seat, because that's the seat that's going to hit the most trigger areas across the neck, the shoulders, and then down the back. That's where a lot of people's pain and inflammation come from, and that's where those earth magnets are there embedded to help promote that healing and promote that inflammation reduction.
Again, if you're just tuning in, this is Angie Hess with Spas and More, and you're looking at some of the pictures that she's provided for us. Would you say that a high percentage of people that come in and do pull the trigger are always saying it's all up in here? I mean, this seems to be where we carry all of our stress, here or low back.
I mean, women especially have all the stress in their neck and shoulders just because of everything that we carry around on a daily basis besides our purses. And men have the lower back. And that's where 90% of everybody has their stress in their body. And it starts with the feet and moves up. And once you get the feet and legs that are having the problems, it moves into the back and moves up. So, anything that you're doing to help relieve that tension helps the full body.
And you just talked about feet, and we're going to talk about that. They're carrying you around. There's so much pressure that's put on them. I think I've told you before, I would love for someone to do a massage for the entire hour just on my feet, right? So when it comes to that with inside of the hot tubs, do you have a lot of people that say, oh, I cannot wait to get in because my feet kill me?
Oh, very much so. And it's like one of the things that our Twilight series offers, which is our most therapeutic model available, are these wonderful jets called Master Blaster foot jets. There's 14 jet nozzles per Master Blaster, and they are designed to help with foot pain, neuropathy, plantar fasciitis, shin splints, problems with your Achilles tendon, because you're getting so much volume and pressure to them. But it's a massaging pressure. It's not a direct pressure. So that actually is like getting your foot massaged, by hand for an hour.
And again, that's what you're looking at. It's not that it's supposed to feel like pins and needles and burn, right? That's not a good thing.
Right.
For people that have like neuropathy, you think about people who have, diabetes or anything, is that good for them as well?
It is, very much so. Because it gives you that stimulation onto the feet, and it helps with the blood flow. A lot of times when you have the peripheral neuropathy, you're dealing with nerve pain, but you're also dealing with circulation issues. You could also be having some issues where you're just not getting good blood flow. So when you're having that massage, and it's opening up those blood vessels to allow that circulation to improve to the feet.
Again, if you are tuning in late to the show, Angie Hess with Spas and More, and we're talking about taking care of the body. This entire show has been about getting the body moving the way it is supposed to. Think about fibromyalgia. Think about people who have muscular dystrophy or MS. There are so many people that I've heard over the years that have started to use contrast therapy, have used saunas, hot tubs, and suddenly their quality of life has changed. So before we wrap up, and we'll give you the details again of how you can find Angie, how many people, since you've been open, and how many years again has Spas and More been in existence? Listen to this.
Actually, we opened in 2006, so almost 20 years now.
Yep. So I can't wait for your 20th anniversary next year. How many testimonials do you have of people saying, okay, I originally thought of a hot tub as just a luxury thing, and I'm going to have friends over, it's going to be a part of a party, but this is how much it changed my life?
I mean, we hear those type of testimonials every week. And I mean, some of our longest term clients, the one I can think of in particular was one of our very first swim spa customers. An older gentleman who is on about 10 different medications for his heart and different things like that. And after he got the swim spa and started exercising, he was able to, within a year, get down to only being on 2 medications. So it's those success stories that keep us doing what we do, because we are wanting to affect change in people's lives. Everybody can have fun in pools and hot tubs, and they're great products for that, but people don't understand how the benefits can actually make you feel better daily.
Yeah, I mean, going from 10 to 2 medicines, I mean, that's huge. Think about that. All the things that you're doing to mask the pain, there's a way to do it from a therapeutic side. And for a lot of people that have spent a lot of money on going to massage therapists, now you could take that money and put it into having your own hot tub. All right. One more time, Spas and More. We're going to give you all the information of where you can find them. Follow them on social media as well, at Spas and More, STL, and then spasandmorestl.com. There are things that will pop up from time to time. Maybe if you follow, Master Spas, etc. I just saw something on your website as well as on social media that was like, click on here. So there was a click on and there was a coupon. If they take that and then they show you where your Master Spa location is, they bring that into you?
Yes. So the month of September is our global sales event.
That's what it was,
normally we have 500 $500 online savings coupons for hot tubs and $1,000 for swim spa. But for the global savings event, we have $1,000 off hot tubs and $2,000 off swim spas for the entire month of September. Now, proceeds from our sales and master spa dealers across the country make donations to St. Jude for this month.
I love that. And so it's all the way through the end of the month?
Yes, it's all the way through the end of the month. And if you print off your coupon and come see us next weekend, the 19th through the 21st at the St. Charles Convention Center, we'll be there with the home show.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so I saw that. I was like, hey, this is your time. So if you've been thinking about it, we always have these times where you're like, well, is it going to go down? Is it going to be this? Well, here you go. $2,000 off swim spas, $1,000 off those hot tubs. You've got to make a little ploy here for my husband to pull the trigger. He's like, but honey, this isn't our forever home and it would be there. I'm like, it can be moved.
Yes, so Monica needs the hot tub. She really wants the Twilight. It's going to be so much good massage benefits for her, and it can be moved anywhere you decide to make your forever home.
Thank you, Angie. Drop the mic. Come on, Jim. Yeah, that's his whole thing, and it's probably, for you, you've probably heard that a lot from people of, well, but I don't want to have it here. We're going to have that expense, and then it's just there. No, they can take it and move it for you to your next home.
Yeah, same thing for the swim spas, because people are all like, oh, it's going to be a pool and it's going to make my house, property value. The people who buy it don't want it. Nope, it's a portable hot tub. We can take it and move it with you.
There you go. So in case you didn't know that, there you go. Angie, how's your transformation coming along?
It's doing good. I added, last week I added weight training in, so body's stiff and sore and not liking me too much, but I take it easy and rest when I need to. But
you listen to your body.
Yep. It seems like every time I buy a new wardrobe because I need smaller clothes, I have to give them away and buy new ones again.
Hey,
so.
That's okay. Someone's happy that you're doing it. That's what we do in life, right? We pay it forward. Well, great to see you.
Thank you.
And for all of you, okay, I said it seemed fitting by what we were talking about with Dr. Kalisiak to pick the 100 Days to Freedom from Shame book. So we're going to wrap up the show with that, and we'll let you know what's on tap later this afternoon, tomorrow morning, and on Friday. So don't go anywhere.
This lady got me in the best shape of my life. I literally didn't know that I could be in shape like that. But the amount that she pours into her clients, and especially whenever you get the one-on-one training, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it was really life-changing. I learned so much about proper form, about nutrition, about just being able to invest in myself. I hired Monica to be my personal trainer, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Boy, this show has been chock full of great health and wellness and fitness advice. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, if you've ever had the idea of, ooh, this person would be great for the show, or this topic, or this guest, or I got a great sponsor idea, or a mobile Monica idea, send it my way. info@therealmonicaadams.com. By the way, we do have a couple of mobile Monicas. We mentioned yesterday we'll be at Conjetta Designs. That's coming up in October on the 10th at noon. So yes, she actually did say if you want to come by and you want to see what her studio is all about, it's not regularly open to the public, but that would be cool because there's some really great clothes that she has there, or appointments that you can set up maybe to have her help your branding. We're also going to be at Principia School. That's coming up later this month. We're going to do a really cool feature with them. So yes, it really does run the gamut. You never know. It's just all about taking our brand with your brand and putting positivity together. So some really cool things coming up as well. And we've been thanking all of our current sponsors. And if you would like to put your brand with ours and help build your brand and get more and more people to know about you, just shoot me an email for that as well. All right. So 100 Days to Freedom from Shame. It's day 42. It's called Own It. He beat his chest in sorrow, saying, "Oh God, be merciful to me. I am a sinner." That's Luke 18, verse 13. Now, as you might expect, the Central Intelligence Agency is good at being cagey. Their PR people have been trained to give answers to questions without really giving answers to questions. For example, the following is an actual response the CIA has given. Quote, "We can neither confirm nor deny the existence of the information requested, but hypothetically, if such data were to exist, the subject matter would be classified and could not be disclosed." Obviously, the CIA is not going to admit to anything. Sometimes we're just good at being cagey. We'll have words and split hairs to keep from admitting our bad behavior. Sometimes we'll rewrite history in our favor or simply deny everything, especially when we know there's no hard evidence to prove us wrong. Well, that kind of behavior is to be expected from unbelievers, but Christians must do better. In fact, the extent of your recovery from a shameful moral failure will be determined by your level of transparency. As long as your goal is to mitigate your guilt and win sympathy, you will never be fully whole. You might fool some people, but in your heart, you know the truth. You're not fooling yourself. Someday you'll look in a mirror and feel contempt for the person that you see. So remember this. People who try to be this way are often exposed eventually anyway and viewed with scorn. People who admit their sin are usually forgiven and respected for their honesty. Which one do you want to be? Steve Poe said, before you take any steps to break a habit, you have to first own it. Oh, I love that. Lord, help me to be honest, to see the futility of trying to be cagey about my sin. Give me the courage to own it and accept the consequences so I can put it behind me and begin to rebuild my life with your help. I love that. We haven't done 100 Days to Freedom from Shame yet. By the way, if you want to know about these books, they're from Stephen Arterburn. Those are the ones that we read when we are on set. Great show. Thank you for tuning in. Again, do us a favor and share this with your family and friends, no matter what platform you are on. And this afternoon, tune in 4 o'clock for Wet Your Whistle Wednesday. Can't wait. I feel like I haven't seen him in months. Chuck Gillentine is with us from Defiance Ridge Vineyards. So it's Wet Your Whistle Wednesday. Tomorrow, Positive Talk Time. And I've got a ton of questions that I am going to ask Jessica. She's going to answer your questions. Some of you have sent them to me already. We'll talk about the gala coming up. And if you buy your tickets tomorrow, there's some cool gift cards that we're going to give you. So the gala's coming up in November. We'd love to see you and be able to help the babies that they take care of on a daily basis, right? The incredible Yuppie Puppies Forever Rescue. So that's tomorrow at 7. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about the Hispanic Festival coming up in St. Louis next weekend. If you've never been before in the Soulard area, Brenda K. Starr is coming. How cool is that? She'll be performing actually on the 20th that evening, but we'll talk about some wonderful, actually the heritage behind the Hispanic Festival and then the incredible food as well. So that's our Foodie Friday feature. Some cool shows still to come. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you this afternoon. Before then, remember, whoever you meet, be sure to be kind. God bless you all.